Hi, friends. Well, today we are going to talk about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. But first, I want to share a story with you. Now, I'm sort of shaping this story to fit the topic of a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And so the story is a Cherokee legend of a grandfather who is talking to his grandson. And the grandfather tells the grandson that he has two wolves battling inside of him. And one is a more negative wolf that always sees things in a bad light, has negative self-talk. And the other wolf is a more positive wolf that sees hope and joy in life. Well, how does this relate to a fixed mindset? So we can look at life like the Cherokee legend looks at the two wolves, one as being fearful, resistant to change, and believes that our abilities are just set in stone. And that's the fixed mindset wolf. Now, the other one is courageous, and it embraces challenge, and it sees failures not as a horrible bad thing, but as an opportunity to learn. They shape failures into lessons. And just like in the Cherokee legend, these two things can battle inside of us. And which one wins depends on what you choose to embrace, what you choose to allow into your life. What is your thinking process? So are you going to have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, this concept of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset comes from psychologist Carol Dweck. And she says that our mindset shapes how we see ourselves and what we believe we are capable of achieving. So what we choose to believe about ourselves, just like in the story of the two wolves, which is the one that we are going to feed. So first, let's talk about what a fixed mindset is. So a fixed mindset is the belief that our intelligence, our talents, and our abilities are fixed and they cannot be changed. And so people with a fixed mindset may tend to avoid challenges. They may give up easily, and they may see their efforts as pointless because their mindset is fixed and they just believe they can't do certain things. And they will fear failure because they believe it defines their worth. Rather than seeing failure as an ability to learn, as a lesson, they see that it defines themselves. And also, people with a fixed mindset, if they struggle with something, again, they may give up easily because they believe they cannot do it. They believe they cannot, that they're just simply not good at it, and that won't change. So that's the fixed mindset. And so the fixed mindset is like the fearful wolf, and it feeds on self-doubt, perfectionism, and avoiding risk. And a fixed mindset really can keep us stuck in our life, and it can cause us to be afraid to try new things or to step out of our comfort zone. Okay, so that's a fixed mindset. So in contrast, a growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and our intellect can grow with effort and with learning and with perseverance. So this means we have the ability to change it, that it's not fixed, but it's something that we can change. And so people with a growth mindset embrace challenges and they persevere through setbacks, and they see effort as a pathway to mastery, that they can actually do things. And then they also view criticism as a chance to improve rather than taking it as a personal attack. And so one of the ways to look at fixed mindset versus growth mindset is that we don't take things personally. When something happens, we don't see it as a judgment of ourselves, but we look at it as, how can we change? How can we take control of the situation and do something differently? And a growth mindset encourages resilience. It encourages self-compassion, which is so important, and I talk about so much on this channel. And it's the understanding that failure is not an end, but really it's a stepping stone to success. Okay? So that's a growth mindset. So every day we can make the choice of which one we're going to choose. Which wolf are we going to feed? So when we avoid challenges because we're afraid of failing, we're feeding that fixed mindset. But when we step outside of our comfort zone and we try anyway, then we nourish that growth mindset. So now I want to share with you some ways that you can go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Well, the first thing that you can do is to reframe failure. And we've talked about this a little bit already. Instead of seeing mistakes as proof of your inadequacy or, taking them personally, think about them as opportunities to learn. How can they be a growth experience? What can you learn from them? They don't define you as a person. They don't define you as a failure, but it's just something that happened that you can learn from. So that's one way that we can reframe a fixed mindset into a growth mindset. Another way that we can do this is to celebrate effort and not just results. So we can recognize progress and hard work and not just focus on the outcome. And I like to think of this as looking at the process and not the product. In our society, we are very product oriented. What can you do? What can you make? But to value the process of an effort and to not only see a good outcome as the only thing that's important in an experience. The effort, the process is also good. And again, we can learn from that. So that's another way to go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Here's another way that is really good about changing that negative self-talk. We have so much negative self-talk going on in our head, And so one way that we can switch that is to go from I can't do this, to I can't yet. I can't do this yet. But again, we are making progress. We are in the process of doing it. So that's one way that you can shift your perspective about what you are able to do or to have a growth mindset and shift it away from what we are not able to do or saying, I can't do this. Okay, so that's another way. And another thing that we can do is to seek out challenges. So growth happens when we push ourselves beyond what feels easy. Or another way to say that is we push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And we can think about the phrase to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's hard to do. I know it is for me because I just like to do the easy things. But one way to have more of a growth mindset is to recognize doing things that are hard, doing things that feel uncomfortable to us are really a good thing to do, that we can learn from them, that we can make progress. Okay, so that's another one. And then the last one that I want to share with you is to practice self-compassion. And that is always so important because when we judge ourselves, when we shame ourselves, when we're hard on ourselves, that really contributes to a fixed mindset and to the belief that we can't really do things, that we can't change, that we can't make progress. But when we have self-compassion, we're recognizing that we need to be kind to ourselves. And when things don't go as planned, we need to not beat up on ourselves, but to talk to ourselves in kind, caring ways. And in Kristen Neff's research, this is the first thing she says about self-compassion is to talk to yourself the way you would talk to a good friend or a loved one. So that's a good way to think about self-compassion. And when we get that, negative inner talk, how would you be talking to a friend? And remember that learning is a journey. It's not just a destination. That the process is important, not just the product. Okay, I hope this was helpful today, talking about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. I hope you gained some ideas about how to develop more of a growth mindset. And if you did, please put that in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're doing. And if you like this video, please, like it, give it the thumbs up, share it with somebody that you think it might help. And please subscribe to my channel. The more people that subscribe, it just gets this information out further to others. All right. Thanks so much for being here today. Bye-bye.